237th day of Ukrainian resistance. This Mediacentru Ukraine. This is Vasil Samokhvalov, and today with us we have Serhii Bratchuk, spokesperson for Odesa Oblast military administration. Good afternoon. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the armed forces of Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Serhii, the first question is going to be about anti-aircraft defense. We know that Odessa was one of the regions which had very good protection defense systems, and yesterday we learned from the spokesperson that we also have first complexes which were provided by our partners. How did it affect the defense capacity of the region? Well, first of all, I would like to say that the situation which we have in our region is quite worrisome because we know what the situation is at night, and luckily at night and in the morning we didn't have any shelling. And unlike the previous day when we had to deal with enemy UAVs, some 6 or 7 the previous 9, and then K-59 rocket hit one of the infrastructure objects in the region from the Russian plane, and fortunately we didn't have any casualties, but the destruction is there and we have to fix it. Then during the day we also there was one UAV destroyed, and they keep flying over. And I know that as far as our region is concerned, we have very many air raid alerts, and it impacts our work, but we keep working in the region, in the city. The situation is under control. And if to talk about people, because this is the question that we hear quite often, yes, people are concerned, but at the same time, they are not feeling panicky. We understand that it's important to keep working and to do what we are supposed to do as far as anti-aircraft defense is concerned. This southern, if I may call it this way, experience of ours shows that it is possible for us to destroy UAVs, and we know that they are not only in the south of the country, but we know that some 90% of attacks, as far as this region is concerned, are carried out by UAVs. As far as modern defense systems are concerned, I can confirm that in southern direction, we have new types of defense. It has been our armed forces of Ukraine have informed about this. It is a great thing on the one hand, but the most important thing is that our enemy feels the result, the impact of this system working. And another question, I think that you hear it quite often. So we know that we have this till 22 of November. There will be some. There was some information about from Russia about the situation with the Kremlin Bridge, and Russia didn't expect any change as far as this border was concerned. If you talk about this grain corridor, just a brief story. We know that every day Russia published some information from the Ministry of Defense of theirs, about the Ministry of Mativ, I may call it this way, about our ports, about export of grains, and no one believed in their guarantees. Actually, then we had a grain initiative. It came into effect, and within just 24 hours, they started shelling infrastructure which was close to grain depots. And it is clear that this initiative, this border, is something that Russia still doesn't like, because it shows to the entire world, well, this entire project, that Ukraine, despite very brutal and lengthy war, and we believe in our victory, but it is still going on. We are committed, and we are committed to our obligations. We deliver grain to different ports, to different countries, African countries, because we know that they feel it greatly. And Ukraine sent to one of the African countries for free grain, and of course that our enemy is not happy about this. And the enemy is not happy that what happened about with the Crimean Bridge. It resulted in many vessels in the Kerch Strait, and actually this is the same area where we have stolen grain, and it is high quality grain, unlike Russian. That is why when we talk about demand, there is a great demand for Ukrainian grain in particular. Of course, that provocations are possible, and I know that. There could be different scenarios and our forces are getting ready, and I'm hopeful that the meeting which took place on the 16th of October in the coordination center in Istanbul of this grain initiative between Mr. Kubrakov and the defense minister of Turkey will allow us to continue working for this initiative to keep working after November, the date in November which was set up, but understand that Odesa could be affected, and this is not fortuitous. When we talk about Putin's statements, very often there are mentionings of Odessa as far as the grain corridor is concerned. Well, the corridor is still working despite UAVs attacks and shelling. Yesterday, 122 tons of agricultural supplies were sent to different parts of the world. There was one vessel which went to Kenya, 25,000 tons of Ukrainian grain. There are 5 vessels, and we have 8 million tons of export within the work of a grain corridor. There are also dozens of applications and calls to work with other ports, and we hope that this will be continuing in the future. And there is another important question. The Russians started attacking energy infrastructure, electricity objects, and it's not really about generation only. We also understand that it's impossible to deal with all of these dangers regardless of the anti-aircraft defense system that we could have. Are there any additional measures to prevent such attacks? Well, we know that we live in the condition of war. There is a regional headquarters which was set up, and it is responsible for such objects that you've just mentioned. So it's important for us to preserve our transformation stations to make sure that there is energy supply to people from the region and the city. We also work with shelters in the regions. As far as these objects are concerned, the objects which are responsible for energy and water supplies for the population of the regions. We know that it's very important for us to lower water and energy consumption. We really need to be very smart about this. We know what the situation is across the country. That is why it's important for us to take some decisions, and we also have some alternative sources to minimize the damage of missile attacks and UAVs attacks. And we say that we also think that it's very important to keep working with people. We know that there will be a heating season soon. The system of energy supply will start working. This is a separate part of our front line. It's important to communicate it to our population in different territorial communities, different places. We raise awareness of people, and people, they have to understand that this is another front line. That is why we really need to go through this period, no matter how difficult it is, but we will make it through this season. And the very last question: on the website of the city council, there is a voting process about the monument to Catherine II, what to do with this monument. And there is this idea which became very prevalent that it has to be disassembled. So what about the future, the fate of this monument after this poll? Well, this poll, as far as I know, is really a recommendation, but it clearly shows the position of our citizens. The position of the military administration was supported by the president of Ukraine because there was a petition sent on his name. First of all, we have to abide by a national legislation, and it's very important for us that we do this. But of course, we understand that a ball is in the playing field of the regional administration of the city, and I hope that they will listen to the position of our citizens. And we were talking about disassembling, not about destruction of this monument. There is a decision, it has already been made, and I think that in the near future this is what will be done. This is an urgent need, it's very timely, and this is what the people of Odessa want. They clearly show it in this poll. Thank you for information. It was Serhii Bratchuk, spokesperson for Odesa Oblast Military Administration. At 12 o'clock, we will talk to Serhii Hamali, head of Khmelnytsky Oblast Military Administration. We will talk about current situation in the region.